All right, good Shabbos, everyone. With the multitudes, please find a seat. I know it's tough. We hope a lot of people are watching on web stream. It's vacation time. It's a holiday weekend. And we are just glad that you are here. We're wearing masks tonight out of an abundance of caution as there's a little bit of virus running around, and we just want to be extra careful tonight. Make sure everybody's healthy. And so, Gloria, what do you think?
Well, I think we should get started.
You think we should get started? Well, where's Cantor? Oh, she's got her vacation going. All right. So we got Gloria Rosenberger as our soloist, and we're so glad that she's here. And we got Ricky here, our shamus. And I know Byron made a fan of a lot of people the way he did announcements last week. So we're going to bring him back for a reprise. All right. Yeah, he was good. What do you think? Pretty good. All right. Shalom Aleichem. Let's hit it. 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn to the candlelighting, a special prayer on 121, 120. If you're watching from home, please, if you're able, take out your candles and join glory in ushering in the Shabbat. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
125, we read together. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Continue with the Chadodi on 138. Which verses, Glory?
Rotenberg.
Which verses?
Which verses? 1, 2, and 9.
All right, 1, 2, and 9.
Ya la 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 Chadodi, la 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 Krat Kala, ya la 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 Penei Shabbat, Nekame la 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 Chadodi, ya la 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 Krat Kala, ya la 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 Penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat nekamela Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmianu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad U'shemo echad L'shimu tiferet V'lid hila Ya la la l'chadodi Ya la l'krat kala Ya la Penei Shabbat Penei Shabbat Nekabela Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nelcha Ki mikor haberacha Merosh Mekidem Nesucha Sof Ma'aseh B'makshava Techila Ya la l'chadodi Ya la l'krat kala Ya la Penei Shabbat Penei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha uvetzola toch emunei am segula boi chala l'chadodi ya la l'krat kala ya la Penei Shabbat nekabe ya la l'chadodi ya la l'krat kala ya la Penei Shabbat
We remain standing for the Baruch Hu through the Shema.
Ya ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la. Ya 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 la 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 la.
149 together. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me as well? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael.
Shabbat Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated as we join together with Gloria in the Ve'ahavta. If you're watching from home, you're a bar mitzvah student, past or present, please, let's hear you loud and clear and join with Glory. And we hear you, of course, here in the main sanctuary. 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושינתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ושרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Michamocha.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, Oseh Feleh, Oseh Feleh, Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, Oseh Feleh, Oseh Feleh.
161. Let there be love and understanding among us, and let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu leshalom, Ve'ha'amidenu shomrenu lechaim, Ufros alenu sukat shlomecha, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. get to dance. Veshamru v'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru v'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beni uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et haaretz. Veshamru v'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vayom hashvi'i Shabbat v'yinafash Shabbat v'yinafash. Veshamru v'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. One more time. Veshamru v'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Look at all those dancers out there.
We continue with the Amidah, page 164, 165. Those who are able, please rise. Pray as if everything depended on God, but act as if everything depended on you.
Adonai Tzvatai Tiftach. Adonai Tzvatai Tiftach. Ufi agid tehilatecha. Ufi agid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibur v'Hanara, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol v'Zocher Chazdei Avot v'Imaot u'Mevi Geula livnei v'neihem למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומשיח ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם וזרעת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומחיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיים ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יחלוך סלה. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue at our own pace through page 181 as we complete our prayers at our own pace. That time, be seated. Misha Barak prayer, so important to all of us. It's a vivid reminder of how fragile life is, how much we care for our loved ones, and the importance of having God in our lives at a time of concern. So we think of those who are ill in Surfside, throughout the world. Think of those who are hurting, those who are caregivers, who give of themselves so that those who are in need of healing feel supported and not so alone. We think of those who struggle with matters of the heart, the mind, addiction too. So as we think of our loved ones, we say first these names that have been submitted to our office: Irving Zaid, Sharna Blumenfeld, Jill Ewing, Bessie Dilla Millara, Vivian Van Duzen, Jake Whitley, Sarah Brown, Len Kurtman, Jeff Jonas, Janine DeGiulio, Howard Misley, Larry Wolf, Bev Aronofsky, Patty Sachs. We think of the rabbi in Boston, Rabbi Noginsky, that he find healing as well, and the support of the community of Jews throughout the world. If you would like to say the name of someone special to you, please simply stand and say their name at this time. If Think of those of you at home who are watching. And those who wish, please rise and we join together in our Misha Berach prayer.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor Bracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Well, we've watched what has been unfolding in Florida, the sense of tragedy that is unfolding from hope to hopelessness and back to hope again as the numbers keep rising. I thought I would share with you a reflection about, well, listen to the sermon and how we might cope with tragedy. Tragedy is as old as time. The earliest chapters of the Bible in Genesis are not just about majestic creation and the joy of Shabbat. They are about Adam and Eve being forced to leave the Garden of Eden, Cain killing Abel. They're about rape and xenophobia and sibling rivalry and famine and drought. Not necessarily in that order. Tragedy is part of the Bible because it reflects the human experience. If God could just swoop down and prevent all tragedy, the Bible would be written in a very different way. What is amazing about the human character is that knowing all of this, we still, well, most of us, go to bed each morning and just know that the sun will rise, that our day will be filled with challenges, but we will meet them, that we will have food on our table and a bit of fun here and there. And even when those expectations aren't met, we still have an ability to think and pray and hope for the best. Think about it. Even the belief that the sun will rise is an affirmation of faith. It will rise because it always has. So it always will. That is the way of the world. We will be healthy because we've always been healthy until we're not. And for most of us, the miracles of modern science have an answer until they don't. The reality of life is that if you live long enough, something will happen. Someone we love dies. We find out that we are diagnosed with a terrible disease. We're in a car accident and our lives are changed forever. The list can go on and on. So initially my thought is, why aren't we all depressed? Well, contrary to Prozac Nation, I don't think it's because we think life is awful. I think there is built into most of us, not all, but this ability to cope, to rationalize, to hope, and to believe that things will be better and get better. For that is the natural order of things until it's not. I know I talk about my dad a bit, perhaps more than I should, but I couldn't help but reflect upon the latter part of his life. He was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and lived his life, nevertheless, with a sense of optimism. Finished out his long talked about book, he saw friends, and was even reading a book until a week before his passing. Someone heard about him and decided he would be a good candidate to be included in a film, a documentary. It's a film about happiness. So he allowed people to film him from time to time over the last year of his death, of his life, until his death. And that included when I would come to visit me, my siblings, my mother. And why was he happy? He had every reason not to be. But he had that optimistic spirit. It was a documentary that reflected the lives of people all over the world, from many different cultures, some rich, some poor, some Jewish, some religions we haven't even heard of in the Western world. But they all reflected people who, despite adversity, were happy. In fact, the name of the movie is Happy, and it's on Amazon Prime, and you can watch it. But unfortunately, my dad's part did not make it into the movie. It ended up on the cutting room floor. And we were not too happy about that. Years later, Rabbi Harold Kushner, Rabbi Harold Kushner wrote a very popular book. I think everybody knows the book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. I've read it many times. I've passed it out, given it out many times. He wrote it, if you recall, after being a congregational rabbi for many years, and then he had to face the fact that his son was diagnosed with a very rare disease. Maybe one out of, so many millions. Progeria. The disease is hyperaging. So I had to watch his son literally age, and by the time he was 12, he died of old age. From this personal tragedy, he wrote a book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People, that helped and continues to help millions of people. But guess what? Most people still get the title of the book wrong. It is not a book about why. He purposefully did not call the book Why Bad Things Happen to Good People. And the reason is because he didn't have an answer to that question. His thesis was broader, that everyone, good or bad, would have to face loss and tragedy in their lives because that is the nature of being human. And so the question isn't about the why, although it is human to want answers to tragic circumstances, and sometimes there is an explanation, but not always. I don't have a clue why my dad, not a smoker, ate, exercised all the bit. Somehow he got pancreatic cancer in his 80s, and I don't know why. Maybe one day medical science will figure it out. And they'll say, this is why. Okay. But for now, it was just a personal family tragedy. And this type of sadness takes place millions of times in homes around the world. And this is not to gainsay or deny the pain that these illnesses and tragedies have in our lives. But some tragedies make their way to the top of the news. And they're tragic for many reasons. But if I want to focus on the recent tragedy of Surfside, it has impacted us for many reasons. Well, it's predominantly Jewish community, so as Jews, we raise our our eyes and say, oh, what happened to this Jewish community? But it's also the sheer number of people within that community who have been impacted. Inevitably, we will find dozens, probably over 100 people who will have lost their life. And secondly, at first glance, it was totally unpredictable and random. How many people have had their homes turned to dust in seconds? Not by an earthquake or a hurricane or a cyclone or destroyed by a fire. You're just living your life, and at that moment, it collapses. It simply collapses. Oh, there'll be time. Lawsuits aplenty. Finger pointing of the why. And all this won't bring back the dead, but it may give that community a bit of peace, knowing that perhaps what they learn will prevent other tragedies from happening. And I'm sure they're starting to inspect all the other condos in the area. All the buildings will get a thorough look over because they don't want to see this happen again. And no one can tell people in that community buildings don't collapse, because this one did. And so their worldview has been shattered and changed. Tragedy can teach lessons. It can guide us to preventing future tragedies. It can point out our follies and our naivete. It can turn into a blame game or a hole in the hearts of survivors who wonder, why did they survive? And again, the focus is on the why. Why me? Why my family? Why that building? So Kushner says gently, I don't know why my son got this terrible disease. He was an innocent. And on the surface, a rabbi, a holy man, why him? But he did. And from this experience, all Kushner could do was come to understand the universe in a different way. Understanding that the universe is for the most part predictable, governed by rules, laws of physics and science. We point a gun at someone and we pull the trigger and the bullet goes. It's going to hit someone. They could die. Jump off a cliff. You don't fall up. Boom. You eat lousy food for decades. Catches up to you. But not always. Some survive gunshots. Some survive dramatically high falls. Some people eat and smoke and do all the wrong things and live very long lives. And we don't know why. So those exceptions are what give us hope. So Kushner teaches, let's not focus on the why, but the when. When we face the inevitable challenges of life and living, how do we respond? Would we be of the constitution to be included in the movie Happy? Or would we catastrophize and find blame and anger and self-pity? And by the way, any of these could be a response. That's human nature. We respond to sadness and sorrow and to unexpected news, each in our own ways. Psychologists and psychiatrists can say, here are the ways, denial and bargaining, and eventually we come to terms. Yeah. But there's still our own personalities. Some are more optimistic, and they can cope a little bit better. For some, it is easy to blame God. Very biblical. After all, doesn't the Torah teach, I put before you a blessing and a curse, therefore choose life that you may live. Powerful statement that a collective will can shape the direction of the community. And there is great truth in that. The environment is a problem, not for just one person. It's for the entire world and climate change. And if we don't all pull together, blessing or curse, it's a community problem. But I digress. For really going biblical is the notion that if you follow God's laws, things will be good, and if you don't, you will be punished. Hence, the good Rabbi Harold Kushner felt compelled to write that book, not to put us in despair that if a holy man can be afflicted with sadness, then what hope do the rest of us have? No, he wrote the book to say, it is ultimately how we face our sadness, our tragedy, our unexpected illnesses that will shape our lives. Viktor Frankl, a survivor of Auschwitz, who became a very famous psychiatrist, developed a whole school of psychology. You read his book, one of my go-to books, Man's Search for Meaning. And one of his most famous quotes about how he was able to cope with being in Auschwitz, to which he wrote, "Everything can be taken from a person but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." Don't get me wrong, the happy people are not people living in la-la land. We're sad, we're upset, we're angry. But there is a part of these people who manage to go forth and go on that still finds within life something to be grateful for and happy for and to be strong for. The happy people were the ones who found reasons to keep going in life, to change their expectations, to search and find reasons to still believe in life, to shift the focus from the why to the forward-thinking when. Talked to a lot of people and sought to teach them that when we turn our illnesses into a punishment from God, we remove from our lives the greatest source of strength, our love of God. If every illness is God's fault, I don't want to believe in that God. And so when we're not ill or our family members aren't ill, we understand there's a scientific reason, whether we know it or not, that that happened. But when it happens to us or someone we love, we go, why, God? Why? When something happens, these strong emotions can overshadow our ability to love. And to love not just God, but the people wanting to give us support, push them away. And maybe we look to ourselves to blame. I should have done this, I should have done that. You know, and people well-meaning say, well, did you eat this? Did you smoke? They're like looking for this reason, but there's always behind it this little blame because they want to know the why. And you go, oh, well, he was a smoker, so of course he got blah, 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 and I don't smoke. No, we're going to all die of something. It'll happen. Let's not blame. Let's not push God away. The Surfside community is a long way from healing. This predominantly Jewish community will find strength in the people who have come to help, the police and the fire and the rescue workers and Israel's special team of search and rescue, and all the money we sent in. And for those who are losing loved ones, it'll be small consolation. But the amazing thing, though, about human nature is that we are resilient. And for many, though not all, they will find their way to grieve and move through their sorrow. But it will ultimately be a choice. A choice is a distant way off. For now we grieve. We embrace our feelings and emotions. We don't push them away. They're very real. We might not even give up hope. For each person, that's on a different timetable. And we pray as if our very lives and the lives of our loved ones depend upon it. For that's how we show our love of God. The Bible taught, let us number our days that we may have a heart of wisdom. And also said, for this too shall pass, for there is a time for everything under heaven. May the memories of those who perished in Surfside be for a blessing. May their loved ones find comfort in our prayers and the caring support from around the world and in God's loving embrace. Let us all say, Amen. (586), we rise for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated. 598 is our mourner's prayer. Think of those who have died in recent days and whose yortzeit is observed as well. We say Kaddish for Arthur Fink, Eddie Schiff Jr., Irv Lewis. We call the victims in Surfside. We recall the yortzeits of Violet Advocate, Don Cleveland Arnold, Amy Beller, Susan Bennett, Dora Bernstein, Etta Borscher, Teresa Bosick, Ilona Bricker, Gloria Chikansky, Harold Harry Cheek, Marlon Diamond, Litzy DeWald, Dawn Eisner, Abraham Etkin, Saul Fink, Jason Jean Caspro, Joe Jean Caspro, Judy Gibrick, William Goldberg, Sylvan Hanel, John Henderson, Barbara Jensen, Corinne Johnson, Joseph Kahn, Jerry Kaufman, Meyer Kinsler, Gary Knopo, Jack Kotlow, Fanny Leon, Julius Lerner, Susan Lerner, Lou Letitia, Lena R. Like, Ethel Marcus, Harriet Markowitz, Betsy McRitchie, D. Robert Mendelson, Erwin Molaski, Linda Muller, David Nathan, Leona Perlman, Nathan Raskin, Leslie Ritchie, Jack Rifkin, David Allen Ross, Adolph Roth, Malka Santer, Larry Sasso, Alvin Selnick, Aaron Shore, Norman D. Siegel, Sonia Smoller, Leonard Spector, Jan Tenner, Alvin Tenner, Jan Tenner, Edith Winnick. If you'd like to say the name of someone who was not mentioned, please stand and say their name. For those watching online, although without Cantor we don't have the technology to read the names, please do enter them in the chat and you will be part of our community as we rise for Kaddish, 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash me rabah v'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedechol be'Yisrael v'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru amen Yeheshmei rabba mevorach le'olam olmei olmaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekusha brichu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata, damiram v'yalma v'yamru amen. Yehi shlom rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Osei shalom b'mrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to which we say amen. You may be seated. All right, we have a little bit of Kiddush and Motzi. All right, and Byron, you can make his way up here for announcements.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Good Shabbos. Is this on? Hello? Okay, perfect. Listen, my name is Byron Brooks, and I'm going to be doing the announcements this evening. We want to let you know that preschool is back. We are happy to welcome Karen Stern to our staff as a preschool director, and she has already started in the office and is looking forward to getting the preschool open this August. Please visit the CNT website to sign our interest list, and Karen will reach out to you. As an added bonus, the first 18 students to sign up will receive a partial scholarship. Family Fun Nights start Thursday, July 7th at 5:30 p.m. Join us every Thursday during July and August for family playtime, songs, stories, crafts, dancing, and nosh, geared towards ages 0 to 5 and fun for the whole family. 0 to 5. So listen, if you're pregnant, come on down. It's going to be loads of fun, all right? Registration is live on the CNT website. Registration for religious school is open. Please visit the CNT website to register. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our YouTube page. We are only 102 subscribers away from 1,000. The person who subscribes and makes it 1,000 gets a year free worth of challah. Is that correct? It's challah for one Friday night service. You will have. If you haven't done so already, let's see. That's the subscription. Now the thank yous. We want to thank Glory Rosenberger for this evening. Thank you, Glory. Ricky on the piano, as always. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Rabbi. Alex, who is on sound. Thank you, Dell, for everything that you do. And also thank you, Paul, for working the check-in desk in the front. And everybody else who makes the Sabbath and the temple services run so smoothly. Thank you very much. Good Shabbos, and have a fantastic weekend.
You're hired. You are so good.
Byron's got that voice to be the official voice of Ner Tamid, right? So after services, we're going to go through that little side door. You may have noticed we have a little break there. We got a patch. So we're going to go through that side door. There's going to be some pick up and carry. Oneg, I think it's ice cream, because that's what our theme has been this summer. And we're so grateful that all of you are here. The offices are officially, quote, reopening on Tuesday, July 6th. And if you read my Facebook post, you will know that there's lots of new faces. Look over there. Behind that mask is our new executive director, Ed Simon. So some people retired during COVID or right prior to COVID, and we got a new receptionist starting. We have our new preschool director. We have a new bookkeeper. Oh my God, a lot of new faces. Heather, my assistant, she's been around the temple a long time, but really she's only been at her job 8 months. And I'm like brand new, right? And Cantor, she's entering her 7th year.
Which is hard to believe.
Hard to believe, but I got her beat. I'm entering my 34th year. So there. All right, what do you want to do for a final song?
Oh, say shalom.
We'll say shalom. Let's go for it. Oh, say shalom, everybody.
Oh, say shalom bimromav. Say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru, amen. Good Shabbat.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Good Shabbos. Thanks for joining.